Silence is often underrated and misunderstood in our modern society. We live in a noisy world where we are constantly bombarded by sounds, words, and information. We tend to value speech over silence, and we often think that the more we talk, the more we express ourselves, the more we persuade others, and the more we achieve. However, silence can be more powerful than words, and words can sometimes cause more harm than good. This is the lesson that a king learned from Buddha, the enlightened one, in a famous Buddhist story. The story goes like this. There was once a king who was very proud and arrogant. He thought that he was the greatest ruler in the world, and that no one could match his wisdom and authority. He liked to challenge and debate with other kings, scholars, and teachers, and he always boasted that he could defeat anyone in a verbal contest. One day, he heard about Buddha, who was said to be the most wise and compassionate teacher in the world. He decided to test him and see if he could outsmart him and prove his superiority. He sent a messenger to invite Buddha to his palace and prepared a series of questions and arguments to challenge him. Buddha accepted the invitation and came to the palace with his disciples. He was greeted by the king, who welcomed him with respect, but also with a hidden motive. The king led Buddha to a hall where he had arranged a throne for himself and a seat for Buddha. He also had a large audience of his ministers, courtiers, and guests who were eager to witness the encounter between the two. The king sat on his throne, and Buddha sat on his seat. The king then began to ask Buddha various questions, ranging from politics to philosophy to religion to ethics. He tried to trap Buddha with his clever and tricky questions, and he hoped to expose his ignorance and flaws. However, Buddha did not answer any of his questions. He remained silent, calm, and serene. He did not utter a single word, nor did he show any sign of emotion or reaction. He just looked at the king with a gentle and compassionate smile. The king was puzzled and annoyed by Buddha's silence. He thought that Buddha was afraid of him, or that he did not know the answers, or that he was disrespecting him. He became more and more angry and frustrated, and he raised his voice and repeated his questions, hoping to provoke Buddha and make him speak. But Buddha still did not answer. He continued to be silent, peaceful, and smiling. The king's anger escalated into a furious rage as he hurled insults and abuse at Buddha. He resorted to name-calling, mocking threats and curses, branding Buddha as a fool, coward, liar, and fraud. He dismissed Buddha as a deceitful figure who misled and endangered people with his alleged false teachings, asserting that Buddha was undeserving of respect and instead warranted contempt, punishment, and humiliation. But Buddha still did not answer. He remained silent, tranquil, and kind. The king's fury spiraled into sheer madness, causing him to completely lose control. He leapt off his throne and charged toward Buddha with the intent to physically harm him. He raised his hand, aiming to strike Buddha's face, hoping to land a blow that would cause him distress. But Buddha still did not answer. He dodged the king's hand and caught it in his own. He held the king's hand gently and looked into his eyes with a loving and forgiving gaze. The king was really surprised by what Buddha did. It made him feel different inside. He suddenly felt really sorry and ashamed for what he had done. He saw how angry and violent he was, while Buddha stayed calm and peaceful. He noticed how he was full of pride and being mean, while Buddha was kind and humble. The king realized that Buddha's teachings were true and beautiful, while his own ideas were wrong and not good. He fell to his knees, lowering his head in reverence to Buddha. He pleaded for forgiveness and spoke highly of Buddha's wisdom and kindness. He declared Buddha as the most exceptional teacher globally and admitted to being a devoted follower. He expressed how Buddha's silence taught him more than any words could, emphasizing the strength of silence and the harm caused by words. Buddha smiled and lifted the king up. He embraced him and said, "My friend, I forgive you and I accept you. You have learned a valuable lesson today, and I am happy for you. Silence is indeed more powerful than words, and words can sometimes cause more harm than good. Silence can calm the mind and reveal the truth. Words can disturb the mind and obscure the truth. Silence can heal the heart and inspire the love. Words can hurt the heart and incite the hate. Silence can bring peace and happiness. Words can bring conflict and suffering. Therefore, my friend, be careful with your words and cherish your silence. Use your words wisely and enjoy your silence fully. This is the way to enlightenment and liberation. The king thanked Buddha and asked him to stay in his palace and teach him and his people. Buddha agreed and stayed for a while, spreading his message of silence, peace, and love. The king and his people became his followers, and they lived in harmony and joy. This story tells how Buddha taught a king about the importance of silence by choosing to stay quiet when the king asked questions. Through this, the king learned that silence can hold more strength than words, and that sometimes words can do more harm than good. This tale encourages us to embrace silence and recognize its advantages. Silence isn't a sign of weakness, it's a display of strength. It's not a lack of expression, but another way to express. Silence isn't wasting time, it's using it wisely. It's not emptiness, but completeness. Silence isn't a curse, but a blessing, not a problem, but a solution, not a burden, but a gift. It's not a hindrance, but a help, not an enemy, but a friend. Silence isn't nothing, it's everything. Silence holds immense power.